Hello there, this is Laverne Henderson, and welcome to another edition of Happily Single Ever After. I'd like to talk about some of the difficulties that I have experienced as a single woman. As you know by now, I discovered that I have the gift of singleness back in my 30s, in my early 30s. I learned that there is such a thing, number one, and that some people are able to live happily as a single individual, never getting married, and in my case, never having children. And I have done just that. I am now a 32-year-old, recently retired woman. So I have, over 30 years of experience as a single woman, and it has been quite a journey. Lots of, for me, positive, wonderful experiences. It has definitely contributed to my self care in a major way, my peace of mind, my contentment. And the older I get, the more I appreciate it and the more I realize that it was indeed the best decision for me. But on the other hand, there have been some difficulties along the way, and there continues to be difficulties. And I want to talk honestly and openly with you about some of those difficulties. One of the major ones is financial is financial. In other words, I've never had a second paycheck that I could rely on from a spouse and or significant other. I have basically had to support myself throughout my adult life up until retirement, and I'm still supporting myself in retirement. Now, I realize that my life could have been easier, financially speaking. I could have been able to maybe afford a bigger house. I could have traveled more. And even that social status, my economic status would have been improved, you know, tremendously had I had a second income, had I had that financial something I could fall back on, that extra check to get me through. I didn't have that. And if you are a single individual who has never had that, then you realize that it makes you think and it makes you wonder, my life could have been a little better had I gotten married, had I had a consistent long term partner. But if you didn't, I'm just here to tell you that that's one of the negative aspects of it. Another aspect could be, for me anyway, was sometimes feeling like a third wheel. You have friends who are married or in relationships, and they always want to include you in certain, trips or just going out to the movies and, on vacation, maybe with a group of other people. But if you're the only one who's not in a relationship, and I don't do much of that. I used to do more of it when I was younger, but not so much anymore because I don't like feeling like that third wheel, that odd person who doesn't isn't in a relationship. So that's something I think that you have to contend with, and you have to have really good self-esteem, and you have to not let it make you feel that there's something wrong with you or that you're less than. And the older I get, the more comfortable I get in my own skin. And the wiser I get, I realize I know that I am a fully worthy, whole, complete individual. So I don't let those feelings envelop or overtake me. But sometimes they pop up from time to time. And the way I get around that is by going out with my girlfriends only, if you will, or other single people. It just makes it easier to not have those feelings. And a third thing that I wanted to talk about, and it's really not your perception of yourself, but it's others. People look at you like, but don't you wish you had children or grandchildren? If had you had children, you'd be a grandmother by now. You and your husband or a sick partner could travel and relax and retire together. Don't you miss that? That even just the companionship and the company at this point in your life? The answer is sometimes yes. The majority of the time, no. Again, I have the gift of singleness. So, not saying that you have to have that gift or that you're even happy as a single person. But that is probably the third biggest negative aspect of it, that even at this age in my life, people who have known me throughout my life, close friends and families, of course they know, they don't ask. But maybe someone that you just met, they are actually incredulous that you have been single all these years and have no children and don't have major regrets about your life choice. Again, I I weigh everything. As I said, I'm the type of person that makes a mental or even a physical list of pros and cons. And for me, the pros of being single outweigh the cons tremendously. I can't even list them all in my head, but it's amazing that people still feel, they look at you as if there's something wrong with you, you know. And how can you be happy like this? Aren't you lonely? You know, and again, the answer is sometimes I feel alone. I'm not lonely because I have a full life and I love my own company more than anything. I'm happy being by myself. Have been since I was a little girl. So it's nothing, it's just a continuation for me. It's just realizing what I need to be happy. It's just practicing self care. It's putting myself first in my life, making me a priority. That's what it is for me. So I wanted to talk just briefly about those negative or cons, to being a single person. And they do happen. And I wanted you to know that, yes, I feel those too. And yes, I think that what if I did get married and had children? Yeah, I would be a grandmother now. And I wonder. But that's just a fleeting thought. It doesn't stay with me long. And I realize that if I had it to do all over again, I would still choose to be single. That is my litmus test. Knowing that if I could go back and change or have a redo, I'd still do it the same way. Even though with the negative aspects and all, I would still remain single because it works for me. Because I have the gift of singleness. And I cannot imagine my life any other way. So there you have it. This is Laverne Henderson from Happily Single Ever After, and I thank you for watching.